Hello, traders. Welcome back to our daily trade journal series. I try to journal every session because accountability is the key to real growth as a trader. And for today, I made about $220 trading MES after getting 7 hours of sleep and feeling healthy. Now, 220 is a little bit on the lower range of how much I can make, and I'll explain that a little bit later on why I did that. So, before we go further, let's go over the VX Algo signal systems. So for today, from 9:30 to 2, we had four signals and they all worked out pretty well. We had the first signal at 9:30 that told us that market structure was bullish because there was more buyers and sellers there at that point. And what essentially that means is that to buy the dips, right? So if you bought the first dip here, you could sell it for about 10 points from 62.74 to 62.84. So you can make anywhere from 5 to 10 points there. And then 10:30, we had another buy signal at NQ, which for me, I took that on ES, so 62.70s to as high as 62.82, so about 4 to 8 points on the X1 signal. And then 12:24, we have a market structure flip bullish again. And that was the market moving over above the MOB. Looked like it was going to break out here from 62.80s to 62.88 almost. So a pretty good 8 point move there. Not as much as we usually would get. And then 130, market structure finally flipped bearish. And what that means is you want to short. So we ideally want to short the MOB line here, the big yellow line, and the ticket down there. So this is a 62.79 to 62.69, easy 10 point play there. Again, another opportunity here to here, boom, boom, another 10 point play. So overall, our process was really good. And if you want to succeed in trading, you got to have a structured process and a way for you to make trades, right? So for me, I have this structured process where I ideally only want to take short positions if the structure is bearish. And if the structure is bullish, I want to be taking long positions and buying the dip. And that's how I structure myself as a trader. And having that process, and that process helped me become successful. So, but for other traders today, if you didn't have a process and you're just trading as the market goes, or if you're trading based on moving average and just on price action alone, there was a lot of like up and down moves. These up and down moves could really kill you because the reason the market does this is to really destroy the trader's mindset because it'll make you think it's going down just to whip it right back up, take your stop loss out, and then once you think it's breaking out is bullish, it'll whip it all the way back down. And at this point you want to short, you're thinking it's gonna break down, and then it will just whip right back up, and that's how the market breaks you because it makes you think that everything is random and nothing is rational. And once you think nothing is rational, what do? You go crazy. That's how somebody gets mentally broken down. So for today, if you were trading like an orb strategy, which I know is getting pretty popular lately, which is on opening range breakout, and they would probably see this play over here as the opening range breakout. If you play that, you would get destroyed because you think that we're breaking out here. And obviously, next second you're loading a massive position. You're loading a position on the move back down to support, only for it to be extremely broken down here you know. So pretty tough move. And if you guys took losses today, I would say follow the same process that I followed yesterday, where I took a big loss yesterday. And usually when I take a big loss, my number one rule for the next day is to think about how much money I can easily make and lock myself out after that amount. So for me, to make $200 is probably the easiest things for me to do. I can usually do that in 1 to 2 trades very, very fast, very quickly. And that's what I did today. I made $200 and I locked myself out. So that means I couldn't trade anymore. And I just walked away. So I was able to avoid a lot of these crazy moves. But if I didn't do that and I was in there, I would have probably gotten caught in half that process. And that could trigger me and make me go on a tilt mode. And if you go on a losing streak day one, day two, and you keep breaking and you keep going down multiple losing streaks, that's how you go in a downward spiral. So if you guys ever find yourself on a losing day, make the next day as easy as possible to win and walk away. I hope that helps a little bit. And then on the news front, we also have some pretty bad news, which means things can get ugly the next few days. They came out and they said that I think they announced it around 1 to 2, and that was what caused some of the whips. And they were saying that we could expect to see 15 to 20 letters go out in the next 20 days. And Trump is also announcing 50% tariff on copper imports. And he's also threatening to increase 200% tariff on pharmaceuticals. And there's also a possibility of more chip tariff. And that means it's going to be bad for NVIDIA and then bad for a lot of the chips and tech companies. And those companies are the big drivers of the Max 7, the Magnificent 7. And if that happens, it will probably cause the market to go down the next few days. So that's a good transition for us to look into what we think could happen in the next few days. So for tomorrow, I'm moving the level back up to 62.90 to be bullish. So yesterday I said that if we're in this zone here, this is the no man zone. And as you can see, I said if we break under 62.60s, we're bearish. And we haven't broken that down. We held it today, and that was the bottom for today. And I expect tomorrow to be something like this, where we're either breaking out or breaking down, because today was such a tight move. Eventually, they're going to break outside of this range. And I think tomorrow or the day after that is going to be that day. So what that means is if we lose 62.60 tomorrow, we could go down a lot more. And if we break above 62.90 tomorrow, we could be bullish again. But with a lot of the situation and things developing, we we could potentially go down a lot more if we lose that 62.60. We can go down to 6200s, 6180s. Uh, the longer time frame is starting to look bearish. Let's take a look at SPX real quick. XPX just has pulled up another doji today. So very interesting. For tomorrow, watch these levels carefully. And if you guys like this honest trading approach and you feel like it helps you, hit subscribe to DIY Wall Street, where we focus on real execution, discipline, growth, and come back tomorrow. Thank you. Have a great day.